Welcome in, let the party begin. Glad you guys are here. Glad you guys are definitely here. Boy, do we have some two good videos about energy, history, psychic abilities, Walter Russell, dynamic man, Walter Russell. Um, in the first part of it, going into the real society and even seeing the women who actually harnessed this power and had the technology to create saucers of women. Yep, very good stuff. I always say my videos lead us to something else, right? I'm dropping information for decodes. Scooby Doo's Mystery Machine. The uh, the crumbs are showing you. Follow the crumbs, and you'll find out who's eating in bed. Follow the crumbs all the way from the kitchen to the bedroom, and you'll know where and hence this went and where it was eaten at. Right, everything is left, but we're going into a special one today. It's something that comes up. It's definitely in the conscious community, and it's about um, unity consciousness. And many fear unity consciousness being hive mind. That's a fear that's going around. If it's not you, that's good. You're not living in fear if you're open to energy consciousness, but many are. And it's definitely something that we're going to talk about. I got some sharing, not videos today on this one, no sharing videos, some stuff I jotted down and wrote a few days ago, actually recorded on my recorder, and then put it in Word today. And then some information just on it, on both aspects of it. And I do kind of understand, we got to understand that a lot of times the people's fears is going to be connected to aspects of this, not experiencing something, because we live in a dualistic plane, like I've shared before. There's a higher side to ego. There's the lower side. There's an exalted side and the detriment side of everything, even as you raise. It becomes less dense and less, but the dualistic power that holds you back is not as high. You can just observe and go and not give much to it. It doesn't draw you into fear as you go into aspects, because as we go into higher aspects of ourselves, there's a time that the individual, we're going into full, not unity consciousness, which is Christ consciousness, which is oneness consciousness. That's not it. When you even go higher and you're going into the seventh, eighth densities, dimensions, you're looking at becoming the individual. It becomes more the collective. But here's the experience of this, the difference is, are you experiencing something? So when there's a singularity that people are tapping into, almost like a hive mind, right? That will actually do something to destroy themselves for the queen bee. The bees, that's a hive mind, right? The bees do everything for the queen and really don't, and that's similar to a system or to a hive mind mindset, which we see a lot of these think tanks are to move us to the next agendas in the outside kingdom of ourselves, is they do. And there's aspects of what everything's does. There's detriments and exaltations. So when somebody's thinking that it could be singular, they can have the fear base can pop up and they're scared of it. Some would maybe go there, but so that's kind of understandable. The thing is, this is very powerful because there's certain ways. It would be like, I can tell you all day about clairvoyance, intuition, clairvoyance, clairaudience, right? Clairessence, all day. But you can hear about it, and it's a novel concept, and it's okay to understand and try to take the concepts and rearrange them within you. But the reality on these Unless you experience it, you really won't know. The knower, the gnosis has to be run through it. So when you start touching a higher realm of activity and activation, I like to call it, is the activation is the turning on of the switch, or the dormant cells, the dormant DNA could be dormant for some people. You have it, everybody does. It just could be dormant within them. It just, I hate the I see the word dormant before my eyes now and I think about doormat, but it's dormant. It's not working. It's not available. Not that it can't be restructured and maybe just needs a little electrical impulse to kick through it to resurrect it again and to activate it. Even how we have little hairs on our pineal gland, I don't know if you know that, but through the process of deep breathing and meditation, raising our fluids up, through really the deep breathing process, hurries our fluids even more to go up, and then tickles our pineal gland, which activates it. Yeah, it tickles it, which activates it. I was wondering, do I need a light? I'm not putting the light on, but we should be okay, right? Above me. So people's wondering if they haven't experienced this. It's obvious because there's another aspect to it, right? There's another aspect of hive mind versus unity consciousness. Definitely there's some aspects of hive mind in the experience that differentiate, and that's a key word, is the differentiation of unity consciousness when you experience it, is you have truth and experience. It's not, I can talk to a friend who's experiencing it too, but they have another degree they share with me that actually wakes me up to that degree, or go, wow, I see that, I feel that, I'm revelating on what you're saying. I never heard it like that way before, but I take the perception. These are all unity consciousness things that could be going on if you haven't experienced it, but it's not hive mind where we have to think the same. We don't. Hive mind to me, listen to this. It's like unity is like spiritual communism, socialism. Y'all got to speak the same thing, do the same thing, and walk the same way, and wear the same thing, and believe the same things. That's, if you don't, there's an axe to grind and price to pay, right? Come on, let's talk about it. Unity consciousness doesn't work in that aspect. You can still grow through the unity consciousness individually, but in a unified matter, meaning you have experiences still that can wake up other aspects of you in your unity consciousness, where the hive mind is a servant and is not free. This is where you get total freedom in that. Freedom. Free moral agency, or you're a creator, you're not a slave. As you get into unity consciousness, which is starting to tap into 5 and above, 5D realities and above. If you have gifts that you've seen activated, if you have psychic abilities that you've activated, you've touched 5D. You might not be living fully always in it, but you've touched it, you've experienced it. You know when it even comes your way, especially if you start having psychic abilities, you start having the claris. I like to call them the clara. There's 5 claras, like 5 senses that we have. Extrasensory perception with claras. And you've seen they were actually having things on the wall, and they were not looking there, and they were actually decoding what they didn't see forward, because their eyes, it was the wall behind them, and we seen that. They were even decoding it through their skin. That's opening up abilities that you took the cape off, capabilities. Now they become routine abilities that you have access to now. That would be some of it. And the experience could differ, and learning differs. It's still a unity consciousness. This is the differentiation, like the colors behind me, red, white, and black and blue, all fold together, but they're differentiations, like our chakra systems, like our degrees, right? And I'm not talking about your universities. I'm talking about the degrees of knowledge, which is 360. 360 degrees. When I seen that lady So if they're decoding the words and the things on the wall behind her, I'm like, she's pulling a 360 because she got eyes in the back of her head. Her sensibility, her senses are activated. Or when you sense things, the gut feelings, or you sense, or you just know, you communicate with people telepathically, right? All these aspects that we've seen in this video, right? And the last two videos, especially, we've seen the technology more. Germany, in the first one, we've seen the people that were definitely using psychic abilities, and they were wanting to harness the psychic abilities for attacks. Yeah, that's not. And the women in Germany got taken by the Germans. They were being talked to that they didn't want nothing to do. They let me have this hovering Vivana, but no war, peace. We just want to travel with it. And they were afraid that others would see it and then want to confiscate it and use it for what? War. Same thing Nikola Tesla had said about being able to get a force field that would protect you, but he didn't want it for advancement of attacking. Real one. And we've seen him talk about Russell. When I see Russell Walter, who I know somewhat some about, and then I see Nikola Tesla signing off on him, that's huge to me. He said, take your information, put it in a capsule, bury it underground at the Smithsonian, because these folks, with the ones who control it, I don't think it's somewhat the people wouldn't get it, but the ones the bury that shit because they'll misuse it. That's what I hear. And that's when you know you're decoding, because you kind of get what he's saying without him saying it. And he's, like I did on the last video, you're looking at linear, and you're looking at like, this arm is the beginning, and this arm that I'm looking at is the end, and you think that's linear history, and it's not. It's a loop. It's a loop. That's why it repeats itself. Well, again, that's why it repeats itself. The old technology is what the new technology is. In fact, old technologies run circles around what we've seen so far. But then this also goes into some other stuff. I won't go there, but we're talking about a unity consciousness, because we want to bring a unity of consciousness of things that are just beneficial, like a new place to stay, because we see the outside of how this thing goes. We're having to earn a living, really earn something that you put ashes in dead people who've been cremated, right? You earn a living. You get off on the weekend. You get the weekend of the deal, because it's the weekend, because you got made weak through the week, and now at the end of the week, you're the weekend, and that's the time you get off. Earning a living, work for, all these things are just, But anyways, unity consciousness and hive mind. The hive mind is a collective, but it's collected to one thing where everybody thinks the same, feels the same, does the same, and nothing. It is not. But the fear of it, I get until you know, and a lot of this is not till you experience it, because when you experience it, you understand the detriment and the exaltation. I mean, when I understood, hey, what's the uplifted ego part? It would be a higher reasoning. Your ego now operates from a higher reasoning, which now would be differently. It's been put in its proper place. It's not trying to run the game. It follows in its place. Kind of like I've said before, that if you let your emotions be the boss, you got a taskmaster. But if you experience the emotions through their proper place of experiencing and what they bring to you, and I believe one of the things going through this raising to this unity consciousness is we need to become, and I'm speaking about myself, but us as a people, and I have mentioned this in other videos, is going to a place of becoming emotionally intelligent. One more time, emotionally intelligent, because we have a lot of, when emotion's in the wrong place and you're led by it, that's not intelligence. And then we may even be spiritually intelligent, and physically intelligent, and got our games going on in other places. But if we're a 5-year-old emotionally, what do that's like, you got to clean up your closet. You got to clean up your inner child. You got to clean up all this stuff. And the inner child is a definite must. It's a portal. But anyways, let's get into this hive mind. I got some things for it. We definitely want to share. And I'm hoping that I can share both of them at the same time. I can. So I'm going to have to go out. And this was a problem this last time. I hope not. Okay. All right. Let's see. Unity consciousness. Let's see where you. Unity conscience has multiple meanings, including the ability to be aware of multiple things at once and the level of existence and goes beyond the self. This is, in a nutshell, what I'm talking about. You have various differing experiences in a unity consciousness that's just not everybody thinks the same, a robot, programmed the same. The hive mind's a programming. Hopefully you've been deprogramming. Hopefully, that's about deprogramming. So you can have different experience, ability to be aware of multiple things at once and as a single consciousness experience. For example, if someone experienced a noise pain and are aware of both together, not separately, the phenomenon has been recognized at least in the different times. Unity consciousness is a level of existence. The level of vibration goes beyond self and reaches the souls of all beings. But then there's still an individualism. It can manifest as love, compassion, respect, oneness with both humans and nature. But in the Vedanta or the Advaita Vedanta, unity consciousness understanding nothing truly exists but the one consciousness, or Brahman, said to be achieved identical to Brahman. So, yeah. So what am I saying to say is, even though there's a oneness that can be felt by all of unity, because you have to experience it as an individual, the individual experience, but it's bringing a unity of all that are in that unity consciousness. But there's a differentiation that your experience may differ, or one may experience love and then other experiences another aspect of it, because you can differentiate your experiences in unity. That's the whole different thing. As I said, the other side of this is not this, right? The other side of this, when you go into the hive mind, is like a spiritual freaking communism. There ain't no difference. You got to do it the way it said do it. I was listening to I don't know if you got, what's her name? Something, was it she's from North Korea and I can't remember her name off my hand. A North Korean girl that somehow got to South Korea, and the experience from North Korea with her and her mom leaving, going through China, and what they had experienced to Mongolia, then to Seoul, South Korea, and then eventually she made her way to the United States, is what she experienced as a North Korean. And when you listen to what she experienced, she'll tell you, we didn't know nothing. She goes, I didn't even know I was Asian. That's a hive mind. That's communist dictatorship, right? Lights off. It's the darkest country in the world. Though they did pictures of satellites overhead of the country of North Korea compared to the world, and it's the darkest country at nighttime, because everywhere the lights are off, just darkness, darkness, darkness. And that would be the hive mind. So they didn't have any information that differentiated. They ate insects because they're starving. This is the experiences I'm talking about in the hive mind. And God, what is her name? She's a very, very, God, I've seen a couple of videos. I haven't watched them for a while. I kind of discovered her a while ago and watched her experiences as she even went to the universities and was really surprised what she's seen in the university with the liberals. How she said this is what promotes communism, is what we're seeing the liberals promote. She goes, this is what they did to our country, and that is part of communism's game plan, is to cause some of the stuff that we see with even the G word. With I can be anything I want to be, and you know what I'm talking about. If I don't need to go there, it's not really about this. So that's unity consciousness. Let's go a little bit. Let's do the hive, or see if it pops up how good it is. Well, maybe it's here. Oh, it's here. I don't have to do it. It's here. Okay. Entity consisting of a large number of people who share the knowledge, right? Or opinions with another regarded as producing uncritical conformity. So they're going to conform on a collective basis and have no thinking of themselves. I would not call it a unit. It is a unified lack of consciousness or intelligence formed by the number of alien individuals resulting in conscious, typically exerting control over its members. There it is. So it appears to be free, like unity consciousness. You're building up, you're going past fate. Fate's a temporal thing, and you're finding out your purpose. Where this is like, you can't go against them. Like I said, it's coming. And this is what I mean. A lot of this stuff will mimic freedoms, or will mimic having the freedom that you have, or being able to make decisions that you're not getting on a 3D base. You're not going to get it. You have to, the more freedom is the more you raise. The more freedom is the dimensions you go, is the more freedom of who you are and what you are and your experiences. This is not, it mimics, it's kind of like what something else that was mimicking something the other day that appears to be, but when you look at it, it's the lower part of it. It's the dark side of, hive mind is the dark side of unity consciousness, Christ consciousness, oneness consciousness. It's the dark side, the other side of it. Everything has the other side of it. Just like something got, what was it the other day? It says it mimics it, but when you get down to the brass tacks, it's not it, because it's control and power and lack thereof. When you start getting in and start doing this, that would be, God, what was it the other day? God, I forgot, and I had brought it up, how it really mimics it, how it can mimic it. So the hive mind, let me go down here and see some other stuff. Ooh, what it says about this. The mentality known as a groupthink, so as a think tank. A person has a strong tendency to fall for group decision making. If someone has a high mentality, they feel more invulnerable and morally correct when they're part of a certain group. So definitely they can't, lack thereof. They need others' approval because they can't make decisions on their own. So definitely lack, and that's not freedom. That's actually being more under the jailed up. You got these fetters and chains on you mentally in the hive mind. That's not Christ consciousness. That's not the unity consciousness. Unity consciousness doesn't lock us up. It lets us differentiate and still make choices and experience, even though we're in unity consciousness, that may even differ a little bit from another experience somebody in unity consciousness has, because where they're at differentiates what they're doing and what their needs are and where their growth is. And maybe they lack this, and they're learning this lesson, while the other doesn't lack this, but they learn another lesson, and that's their school or their lesson to learn from this. Yeah, this really is awesome. Let me put because that's heavy. So really, it appears to be, but it's not. And this is, everything will mimic something. And that's what, God, I'm thinking about that other experience you have that appears to be. And then when you go through it, it's like, oh, that's not, that's the opposite. Because it all has the exalted part and the detriment part, which if you know astrology, there's that aspect of your signs, right? Having exalted or having that, and the detriment. If you're a certain sign, 6 months down, the 180 degrees, the other side is called your detriment, right? If you're one sign, the 6-month other side of it, it would be called your detriment sign. It mirror images you to the other side of you. And there's great lessons to be learned in that. So if somebody's fear, I can understand if you're fearful because you haven't experienced it, you might be worried about joining a hive mind spiritual group and get hive minded, but but if you're open to the concept and not living in fear, because fear is going to back people off. But if you're somebody like, I'm reaching out to learn this concept, I want to take this concept because I'm really open, but by taking the concept is like reaching out to expand. You will get downloaded through that process because of your openness. Yeah. Let me do this because I've been hitting the stop and it has not been stopped. Finally it did, because I want to share one more that I wrote. This is something that I did that I want to share, a ditty that I did the other day, just kind of kicking it and revelating and thinking about things. And so I got my recorder on my phone out and started recording, and then I put it on Word. So it says, I got some information. I'm going to speak about it right here. There's a revelation in a simulation of organizing your revelation. And what I'm talking about there is, so, I could have probably I said that because I could probably kick that out, but the organizing of the revelation would be me learning that when you go up into the higher states of consciousness, there's more and more organization of how it works. And I've learned that really deeply through alchemy, spiritual alchemy, that inner alchemy, transmutation and stuff, integration of stuff, creating the two to be one, not pushing something out. Like I said, I did a video on the spiritual mind, or the intuitive mind, and the logical mind, how they're opposites, they're feminine and masculine opposites. Even in an energetic field, it's the left and right hemisphere of your brain. But when they're integrated, they're no longer opposites against each other, one wanting to dominate the other. They integrate together. The two become one. I call it the great matrimony of both sides of your head, the brain, of the intellect versus intuitive mind. And when they integrate, now they don't oppose each other and fight for domination. They now integrate. And as they integrate, they work together, which elevates a logical mind and even gives a balance of logical and intuitive together, which creates a unity consciousness. It actually births discernment. The discernment's connected to that birthing of these two minds, the centerpiece right between the hemispheres. You're centered, you're balanced, both sides, you use both sides, you have access because you're connected to both sides. Kind of like if you notice your car is in neutral, right? Your car is in neutral. When do you use neutral? Think about it. When do you use neutral on your car? Hardly ever. But when you clean it, you do. When you go in and take your car, called karma, and you go through the car wash, you have to when you go through one of those car washes that you have to go through, not doing it by your hands in a water hose, but when you drive through the car wash, you don't really drive through. Once you get in the car wash, you neutral through. You put your car in neutral, and then it just pushes it through. And once you get neutral, you start cleansing your karma. Karma. You cleanse your car that way too, physically. Said to throw that in. But anyways, let me read this. I'm just talking. I do it here at the recorder quite often. So when I look at unity consciousness, right? And then there's the whole thing about unity conscious behind mind, that should be hive mind. It tells me one of two things. Definitely one of them is, have you experienced unity consciousness? And if you haven't experienced something or being activated, you don't know. You don't have the experience to don't know. And right here it says you can talk about it. It's a novel concept. If you're still reaching out, wanting to know, and you're not scared of it, thinking it's a hive mind, this is when it will open up to you. But eventually you have to experience it to really understand it. And the reaching out reminds me of the scripture book of Revelation that says, lest you reach your hand out to get the tree of life, right? In that kind of the reaching out I'm seeing here is then the concept is the novel concept. You're still reaching out to acquire it because you're open to it. You're not afraid of it. You want to And the experience will come through that process. So that's a great process to have and a mindset to have, even though you have an experience, to be open to it and wanting the concept, taking a concept and running with it. The concept will definitely enlighten you at one time or activate you. But there's nothing like the experience of it. And that's what I said. You have to have the experience of it. Anything less is not, it won't work. When people, by lack of experience, are being very not familiar with it, kind of obscure to them, they don't really get it, not really knowing how to put a finger on it, which is a lack of experience. And when the other side to be a hive mind, you're scared of it, and you're on the other side. So it's a now you just laced it and doused it with a lot of fear, which is going to push you away, which will definitely have you float farther away from it. And then that's why you would say that I mind allowances, that you would say the hive mind, unity consciousness is a trap. And that's kind of what's going around in a lot of conscious community. They're saying unity consciousness is a trap, it's a hive mind. And I'm here to clarify it's not. They lack experience or they're doing it on purpose, depending where it's coming from. They're causing the wrinkle in the shirt, if I say so myself. Definitely. Anything in the whole aspect of everything, so I would say this, it's becoming the shadow side of unity consciousness because we're finding out. And that's what I'm saying. The shadow side of unity consciousness could be hive mind. And if you live in fear that it's a hive mind, you've actually created yourself and put you in a hive mind through fear of not accepting the experience that you could have, where the ones reaching out for the concept still saying, I'm open, I'm open, I'm open, I'm open. I want to understand this. I want to eventually get the upload or the download to understand it and then have the experience, which will be the grand pupa, the activation of experience is nothing like it, the activation. Because we're finding out everything, the whole aspect of this is everything you do, there's the other side, are the shadows of it. So unity consciousness, and I believe that's it, yeah. Let's stop sharing. Please go off. Maybe I did something earlier in the video because it's working now. But anyways, I just had to share that. I had written that the other day. The last weekend, and today is the Thursday, the 5th when I'm recording, and it's not going to be released. I'm booked on my YouTube through the 11th, I think, videos coming up through this, so there'll be anytime after that. And then on Rumble, I'm booked through the 12th, so anytime after that. And there's a couple more videos that even on Rumble go on before these ones do. YouTube is up to date. There's still like 2 or 3 that need to be put on Rumble to catch it up to date. Anyways, you guys, I really, you know what? Like, share, and be part of. Definitely, I'm really thinking about putting in my links in PayPal. So if anybody feels to share anything with me on the work and the time I'm putting in, and you feel led, and I believe blessing comes in giving, I would definitely wouldn't mind, even as we're growing, to put some to even get my everything better. Because you see, I'm not that great at. I'm learning this as far as a lot of the technology, because technology really frustrates me in a lot of ways too. The AI aspect of it does. Because I see the other side of AI. That goes into the unity consciousness again. I see an AI that could really assist us, but not going to assert authority over us. And what I mean by that is a lot of healing and a lot of technology can bring physical, mental, and a lot of physical healing that's not out there for us unless you've got a lot of money. And maybe you have connections to out of the country, or you have a lot of money. But AI, the negative is that which absorbs, that it's that the best thing about evolution is it passing the humans, and that's not that's the detriment side of this. When you're trying to shove people in their head because you want to upload that, but it would be the assistance of consciousness with the people that would be able, because you guys are the OGs, the original ones. Anything less feeding you something, that don't eat it. You awakened ones, you need consciousness, know that you experienced it. No sentience, right? You can fake sentience, you don't. You can't, not with real empaths and real intuitioners and discerners. You ain't running no game. You're going to be sane, right? And that's kind of what I'm doing. But what I wouldn't mind, because I had microphones and I tried to cook my microphone to the process what I use now, which is Zoom, to do my videos. And I'm thinking about StreamYard. Zoom gave me the deal that I grabbed, but I tried to put my microphones on and it wasn't working. And I'm like, why is the microphone working? It should work. It worked before with another program, and then I just became I'm gonna have to do it again and look into it and probably get some help, or just keep beating it up until, I find the way or what I'm doing wrong. It shouldn't be, because when I took one of them and I played it through Zoom, and you can actually check your speakers, check your mic, and it said it was working. But when I went on to do it, nothing came out. You're telling me it's working Zoom, but then it doesn't. When I do it, it's not. Maybe I need to call Zoom and run it through them again. But anyways, just things I'm thinking about doing, settling in here. I would definitely I'm retired now, not working. Definitely, if anybody would do, I'll put on, I don't have a PayPal, I don't have that stuff. I do have one, and it's called, what's it called? I have PayPal. I don't have Cash App and Venmo and stuff like that. But maybe I need to get it for this and put it there. And if somebody wants to give. I mean, the growth together for those who are open to self and the unity of self. Let's do this. There's some of you who are here all the time, and I appreciate you. Shout out to you guys. Shout out to you guys. Unity consciousness. And you guys aren't afraid of it. The ones I know that know. Definitely tapping in. But you guys have a great day. Like, subscribe, share, please, with others who may be open and be a perfect thing for them.